Are gasoline and diesel vehicles basically a thing of the past? Even though you see them on the road, you probably have one. It may be that it's a foregone conclusion that these vehicles will exist in the future. The manufacture and sale of these vehicles might be past a point of no return if you believe some of the news that's come out recently for the development of electric vehicles. The article from Adventure Rider, Goodbye ICE, which stands for internal combustion engine. Europeans killed off internal combustion vehicles. Mark it on your calendar, according to the article. 29th of June marks the beginning of the end. They banned sales of new cars and vans powered by gasoline and diesel engines. And as soon they're going to add motorcycles. Here's the thing. This might only be in Europe, but manufacturers have to have a global market for their products. If major markets ban vehicles, that's going to reduce the volume of their sales to where they can't build them at all. So if the EU bans them, California bans them, some other states like Washington State have banned them, that might be enough of a tipping point in erosion of market to where the vehicles aren't profitable to be built by manufacturers. And this is an important thing because people are relying on a vehicle for transportation. And we'll talk quickly about the advertised range and whether or not you can count on that. But before we do, think about this story. You may have seen it if you watched the movie Hunt for Red October. The character, Ramius, who was the captain of the ship, talked about a story of an explorer, Cortez, who sailed from Europe to South America. And he had an exploration party that was going to explore and develop, have an expedition for the New World. And when they landed in somewhere in South America, look, these are people that have come from Europe. They're used to having some creature comforts and homes and security. Now they're in a jungle with wild animals and native people that don't want them to be there. It's going to be a hard battle. I'm sure a lot of the people thought about, well, maybe we'll go back to Europe. Maybe we won't do this exploration because it's so hard. We have to live under trees with snakes and lions and tigers or whatever's there. So Cortez, the leader of this expedition, in the middle of the night, burned all the ships that took them from Europe to the New World. That sent a clear message to the explorers, we're not going back. It made it impossible to go back to the old way of living. Go back to the old world where you came from. This may be what's happening with electric vehicles. This banning of vehicles in large markets could be like Cortez burning the ships. We're not going back to internal combustion vehicles, whether you like it or not. Whether it turns out that's better or not. We're stuck with this. We're committed to these electric vehicles. And whether it's through regulation, through government action, through policy, it may be the Cortez burning of the ships moment for combustion vehicles. And it's important as a consumer to know that this is happening, what you're getting into. Because as a consumer, you have to get to certain places with your vehicle. Those places are a certain distance from your house, from your job, maybe vacation. And you're relying on the range of that vehicle to get there. The reason why range of a vehicle on electric is important, where it's not as important for gasoline, is because with a gasoline vehicle, you can stop and top off your tank almost anywhere in 5 minutes or less. Wherever you're driving, in most places, you're not more than 5 or 10 minutes from a gas station, and it doesn't take you more than 5 minutes to fill up, right? So range is not really an issue. It's an inconvenience because you have to stop for gas, but it's usually not an issue unless you're in a very rural area far from a gas station. That doesn't happen too often. With electric vehicles, you're always in a rural area with regard to charging stations, because charging stations aren't on every corner like they are gas stations. In fact, gasoline stations are not on every corner, are not on any corner, they're on every corner. Some major intersections have a gas station on all four corners of that intersection. Not electric charging stations. And the range is much less. If you fill up a 18-gallon tank with gas and you get 25 miles per gallon, you might have almost 500 miles of range before you start getting on E. And you can stop and get another 500 that fast. What about electric? Well, most electric vehicles have maybe 200 miles of range, less than half. In fact, according to some articles, the electric vehicle range might not be accurate. Buyers should take advertised electric ranges with a pinch of salt after research found distances average almost a fifth lower. They tested 60 vehicles, and the average was 238 advertised, but they really only got 192, less than 200. And these are vehicles that in the UK, there's going to be a ban on gas vehicles, only electric vehicles. So you need to prepare for that. If your lifestyle is based on having a 500-mile range vehicle that you can fill up that fast, now you're going to have a 192-mile range vehicle that you can fill up in an hour or 2 or 4. Tell us what your thoughts are on this. Tell us if you think that there's any chance that internal combustion engines are going to be able to survive. Are they going to be able to be available? What if there's not enough electricity to go around to charge these vehicles? Is electric vehicle sales and marketing the future of this country, or is it just a flash and a fad and something that'll be a passing footnote in history? And do you want one?